When you're lifting weights, the rest period is almost as important as the exercise itself. In fact, the rest periods are what makes strength training. Take those out, you're no longer building muscle, you're just building endurance and stamina. Take those rest periods. I know it's boring sometimes, but that's what makes it strength training. That's what trains the right energy systems so that you build muscle. Rest in between your sets. That's how you do it.
Just coming from one of our most recent callers.
Yeah, it is. Totally. It's, you know, what's funny is without the rest period, that's literally what would make it not strength training anymore. You take the rest period out, it is no longer strength training. It's just you're using weights, but you're not building strength and muscle. And that's the part that
and it's uncomfortable. You know, a lot of people that really get in the rhythm of the training, and it's like, you know, they just get antsy and they want to get back after it. But you're doing yourself a massive disservice, especially if you're going in just with the intention of this is strength training. I'm trying to build muscle. I'm trying to be focused on this. Like, you got to start learning to incorporate other practices, maybe meditation and focus in between those sets to occupy you.
It's so easy to predict the person that needs this by like when they break down like what they like to do or how they've been training.
Oh, yeah.
It's always your cardio bunnies, your group X people, people that love the classes that you go to. They just
the people that value the sweat.
Just really have a hard time with the rest. You know, and what's so great about getting a client like that is if you can get them to follow a MAPS Powerlift, like a powerlifting routine, and make them rest for 3 minutes and focus on getting really strong in the core lifts, you radically change that person.
You know what's funny is I had somebody ask me, a family member asked me about the conversational skills that we have on the podcast. They listen to the show and they're like, you guys are really good at conversation and stuff. I'm like, you know, it's funny. I said, we learned that as personal trainers because when you're training clients like that, like you said, Adam, which is actually a large percentage of the clients that we would get. This was the typical person. Remember, strength training, when I started in the late 90s and then early 2000s, especially for women, was not popular whatsoever. Nobody strength trained except for guys that want to build big muscles or some athletes. It just wasn't popular. So we get a lot of people that had problems with rest periods. They didn't want to rest. What can I do in between? I feel like I'm wasting my time. So you had to get really good at conversation. You had to get really good at entertaining them in between sets to make them kind of more comfortable. But yeah, one of the big misconceptions around rest periods is the reason why a strength training routine, so this is the myth, the reason why a strength training routine has a rest period is because you need a break. You have to take that break, otherwise you can't keep going. So rest until you feel like you can go again. That's not why the rest period exists. The rest period exists because there is a particular energy pathway or system in the body that you're training that leads to
you're signaling
more muscle, more strength, growth, right? Faster metabolism, the hormone positive things that we talk about with strength training. You have to train that energy system. That energy system burns hot, but it burns out very quickly. So sprinting would be the strength training version of cardio. If you sprint versus long distance run and you do no strength training, the sprinter will build significantly more muscle in their legs than the long distance runner. In fact, the long distance runner is typically at risk of losing some muscle because the body's trying to become more efficient at what you're doing. The sprinter is literally sprinting at full speed and then waiting and resting. If you ever watch a track, training with sprinters, they rest for a long period of time between sprints because the coach wants them fully rested to exert maximum power. So when you train that energy system, the way the body adapts to that is it makes bigger muscles because bigger muscles burn fast, hot, and contract with a lot of power. So that's what you have to train. If you don't take those rest periods, the body will start to adapt in the stamina and endurance way, which is smaller, energy efficient muscle. It's starting to train for energy efficiency, which is fine if that's what you want. But if you're working out because you want the faster metabolism, you want the insulin sensitizing effects, you want to shape and sculpt the body, well, that's building muscle. And rest periods is so important to that. Again, if you take that out, it's no longer strength training, something completely different.
This same avatar person, I've found the majority have a really hard time with increasing load within these sets as well. And so this is something that, too, it's a different shift of mentality completely in terms of approaching the exercise. I'm trying to increase intensity. I'm trying to increase the max force capacity, like how much I could summon versus just trying to get the reps in, get the reps done. It's not about getting done with the workout. This isn't like a task of I have to get through all this stuff and like what I have on my list.
Yeah.
This is like what am I capable of? Like how much weight can I move? It's a totally different mentality.
It's such a good point too, just because it's been a long time, obviously, since I've trained people in person. One of the last clients I had, though, this is where the transition, we were trying to get to this point. And I can remember one of the things that she was challenged with is, she'd get done with a set after I've been communicating this, and she'd be like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I go, oh, well, we obviously didn't exert enough energy lifting enough weight there. No, that was heavy. Like, not heavy enough. If it's that point where you're ready to go again in 30 seconds or like that, we're not learning to summon all that power and energy to lift as much weight as possible, and you're still lifting with that same mentality of like circuit and like only pushing the body so hard and then I'm ready to do it again. It really is, you have to get them to not only apply to by the adhere to the rest periods, but then also learn to shift the mentality of going in to lift the weight, and that is part of this process that's difficult.
Yeah. Now there is some value to some shorter rest periods, to waist buildup, getting the pump. There's definitely value to that, but that also still includes rest periods. So it's not like there's no rest periods. There's still rest periods, but now you're working a little bit more strength endurance, and the pump does contribute to some muscle growth as well. But for the average person, for most people listening, okay, because that's more advanced, right? For the average person listening, you should rest until you feel completely prepared to lift with your maximum strength again. That's how you should feel. It should not feel like, okay, I caught my breath, I can go again. I think I can go again. No. You should feel like, am I going to be able to be as strong as I won the last set? No? Okay, I'll rest a little longer. Yeah. That's what you should feel like.
Recharge.
By the way, to give you an example,
a different feeling you're measuring.
Totally.
Though, right? Because it's like, I know when I go and I'm like, let's say I'm squatting, right? And I'm lifting 300 plus pounds. When after I've been resting for 1 minute, it's not my breath that's telling me I'm ready to go. It's like my legs. My legs still feel like they're recovering from the lift they just did before. And it's like, it's that once you hit that about that 3 minute mark, it's like, okay, they feel fully recovered again. Now let me go after it again. Yeah. It's not your heart rate and your breathing, which is what the class people or the circuit training type of person, that's what they're measuring. They're
that's what they associate with a good workout.
That's what I mean. And they go, oh, my heart rate's come down. I'm not breathing heavy. I can go again. It's like, no, I'm wanting you to feel the legs. Like how do your legs feel? Oh, their legs are fine. Oh, okay. Well, we're not hitting close to your
look. Just to give an example, if you had two people doing a strength training routine, let's say in 45 minutes, and one person just did, let's say 4 sets, and the other person did 15 sets, but the way they were able to accomplish 15 sets was they had no rest. The one who did the 4 sets with rest is going to build more muscle and more strength. Even though they didn't do nearly as many sets, they're the one that are going to build muscle and strength. The other person is going to build stamina and endurance, which again is fine. But if you're after the following, which is, it's not the work I'm doing in my workout that I'm looking for the value in, it's the adaptations. That's the value that I want, because the adaptations are with you all the time. You're working out 3 days a week for an hour. That's 3 hours out of the week that you might get some value from movement. 3 hours, that's it, out of your whole week. How many hours are there in a week? Way more than that, right? Strength training, the value isn't really in the activity itself. There's some value, but not a ton. The value is in the adaptations, the muscle building process, the recovery, the strength that you build, which is with you all day long. This is why someone who does strength training can burn a fourth or even a tenth of the calories that someone who does a ton of cardio does in their workout, yet have a metabolism that burns so many more calories that it not only makes up the difference, it goes above and beyond, and it makes being lean so much easier. It requires less work. That's the value of this.
This tip too reminds me of the real value of a really good trainer. This is they're worth their weight in gold right here. Like twice the investment you spend on them. When they train you accordingly, and they use those 2 to 3 minute rest periods to educate you.
Yeah.
Because then you think about that. You not only do you get this incredible programmed by a professional and expert that's teaching you great biomechanics and technique and putting you through the best routine possible for your body. Then in addition to that, they have this entire hour, almost half that is in rest periods. Mm-hmm. And if in those rest periods you're being educated on why we're doing this, what programming is, what the difference between sets and reps, what talking to you about nutrition, like, boy, that's huge, man. You're getting this deep education about your body and in your health, in addition to this incredible workout. It's hard to put a price tag on that if you caught yourself a trainer like that.
I'll tell you what my tricks were for the rest periods for clients that had tough, because you get those clients that have a tough time sitting for 3 minutes, and you can tell they're like, I'm paying for this time. This is wasting my time type of deal. One was good conversation, obviously. Two was what you're saying. Be able to educate them during that process so they felt like they got something out of it, and they did. And the third one would be just a little myofascial release that I learned from the massage therapist that I work with. So in between sets, I could work on certain muscle groups, and people enjoy that. And it would give them value. And this is a tip for trainers, because you're going to run into clients who are going to push back. You get that cardio fanatic and you tell them to rest in between sets, and they literally feel like, okay, they're paying you for nothing. I've actually heard people say this.
Oh, yeah,
Why am I paying you? I'm just sitting here.
That's right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So those things right there, I think could help out. Today's giveaway on YouTube is MAPS Anabolic Advanced. To enter to win, leave a comment below this video, the first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel and then turn on notifications. And if you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. Also, this month's program sale is as follows: MAPS Strong, MAPS Powerlift. Both of those are half off this month only. If you're interested, click on the link at the top of the description below. All right, back to the show. Anyway, speaking of workouts, so earlier, I don't know if you guys heard Andrew say that he went to go play baseball and he tried the joy mode as a pre-workout. Did you hear what he said?
No.
Oh, yeah. He said he was in the zone. Correct.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
You
telling
swear by that.
it is a great, so joy mode is for sexual performance. And the reason why it's made that way, the reason why it increases blood flow, and it's very effective at increasing blood flow, boosts nitric oxide. So obviously more blood flow means
there's going to be like some bat jokes in there.
You're gonna make, what?
Yeah.
Or men in tights. I don't know. What is it about men in tights, Andrew, that makes you want to take joy mode?
That's not what it was. So, yeah. But you want more blood flow when you work out too. Like that's what gives you a better pump. That's what gives you better performance, better nutrient delivery. And it's not a stimulant. So when you take it, it's not like caffeine. In fact, I take it with caffeine sometimes. Great.
Yeah, no, it has a different energy feel from it.
It's a great.
You got us to take it before
It's
podcast.
weird, yeah, like how much it energizes you.
It's a good energy.
It is, yeah.
It feels really good.
Yeah, but I do worry, like if I get too much energy, you know, what could happen?
Yeah. Hey, speaking of energy, so I saw this stat, and maybe Doug can fact check it. You think it's true? 80% of $1 bills have traces of cocaine on it.
I've heard that, bro. Look that up, Doug.
I thought it was the Tony Montana.
No, it's $1 bills. That's what this. Well, that was what the.
Who does cocaine with a $1 bill? Isn't that like a?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
gotta be
dirty ass
hundos.
cocaine.
Isn't that like? Isn't it like a big like no?
I don't know. So I'm curious if there's any truth to that, Doug.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got for us?
Yeah, it seems to be real, actually.
Oh,
What?
Wait.
Oh, it's another study by the journal. Look at that, Sal.
Okay. Noting a substantial contamination of 80% of U.S. currency.
So what's the other percent is made up of feces then? Yeah,
Why feces?
guaranteed. Everybody, yeah, dude.
Strippers,
People are
stars,
dirty.
Stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
I think
dude.
that's actually what. So what I thought the clip that I saw was that every night the stripper comes home and she actually washes her dollar bills. Like she puts it all in her sink, fills it up with Dawn, and lets it sit, and then dries it every day.
Yeah.
That's because. And then I saw that stat. I was like, oh, that's really interesting.
you wash
I didn't know how
your.
much cocaine.
If
was
you
on
wash your money, I mean, you're going a little too far.
I don't think so. I like
Well,
that. A clean stripper.
According to this, paper money can carry more germs than a household toilet.
Wow.
that. Ew.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've also heard that about a doorknob. I heard a doorknob has more germs on it than a toilet seat.
You know
Oh,
what? Listen
yeah,
to me, you
I've heard
guys.
that
You
too.
don't fall for the propaganda, bro. They want to take away all your paper currency. They want you
that's true.
digital so they can control everything.
Oh,
that's what's
why.
happening here.
That's what they're thinking.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think that's really deterring people? I think
money's got cocaine
I think a
and
bunch of
germs
people
on
are
it.
I think
sniffing
if
their
you
dollar
test
bills
it right
now.
now, you'll see some
I don't
nasty
think-
ass shit on there.
I don't think that's deterring anybody. Everyone's like, what? There's some cocaine traces on my
Yeah.
dollar bills.
I don't think it's an effective way to get enough coke, though.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
How many dollar bills do you need?
Yeah.
That's more expensive than buying it. What
How
the
many
fuck?
dollar bills do you need to get?
Why
high?
is so much cocaine everywhere? I don't understand. I didn't realize cocaine's so like it's all over the place.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the tool of choice, huh? You just roll it up and
I mean, that's what I see in the movies, but
Yeah,
I, mean,
I know, right?
Why is there so much? That's an insane amount. 80%. I don't think you can find 80% of any other chemical on money.
That's
right?
why I thought it was an interesting
Yeah, it
stat. I thought that was so fascinating.
And it's a real statistic.
That's what it's backed by studies, bro. You know, I knew you were going to try and fact check me there, but it's backed up. I got another one for you guys. Similar to
You got more studies?
no, well, it's a stat, right? So more stats.
Is this one going to tell me dinosaurs aren't real?
No, it's not that one.
Okay.
So I think it's called callbacks, right? There's like 5% of so Capital One is I think the number one credit card as far as how many people have Capital One credit cards. Capital One, I think it Discover's up there. I forget what some of the other ones were. And they're at a 5.4, I think, percent, somewhere like that, 5 point something callback, which is the highest since the 2008 crash, which is interesting, right? So it's
5% of users.
A callback is them basically canceling their card because you're not making payments. So you're basically defaulting on your debt.
That's a high number.
It's the highest since 2008.
Oh.
So we haven't seen this high of numbers since 2008, and this is coming from it's a report coming from one of the highest or the most popular credit cards out there.
Everything is so expensive. It's crazy.
It's got to pop.
Like food is expensive.
No, it absolutely has to. So I think why this has got everybody fooled for so long is that we'd never seen that much money infused into the market. We had the big COVID relief stuff that was going on, so the stimmy checks like crazy. And then what was it called when you could apply? What was the thing that we could have applied for the
PP?
the PPP loans or PPA whatever loans.
Yeah.
You have all of those. Like everything is and then everybody obviously running up the debt. I just think that we just haven't seen the fallout yet. It's still to come, and it just takes a lot longer when you have record amounts of money that you've infused into the economy. And these are like one of the front end signs of that is when you start seeing people default on.
What was
cards.
the number in 2008? You said it was the highest since 2008.
So it got higher. I think it got all the way up to like 8 to 12%. Maybe Doug can check that for me. This was like, so if you looked at it, I saw a graph, right?
So you could see the two peaks.
So yeah, so like let's say here's the median line, and then this is the peak of 2008. We're on the upward trend right now.
Okay.
So we're trending this way. We've already passed the medium it's ever been, and so it's at the lower end of 2008, but the highest it's ever been since 2008.
Credit's
so
interesting.
we're on. It's basically showing that it's trending in that direction.
Credit's interesting because for markets to work well, for investment and innovation, it's very important. So not having credit is not a good idea in markets. However, there's also a bad side to it where people no longer live by I can afford this because I have this money, but rather I can afford this because I can make the payments.
That's right.
And so then they end up building.
I mean, I was guilty of this as a kid.
Crazy debt.
Whenever I looked at both car payments and a house payment, that's how I always viewed it.
You just looked at the payment.
Yeah.
And just carried the debt.
Which, by the way, is like every realtor / car dealer's dream is to hear someone say that because they can.
That's how they sell you a car.
They can finagle the loan, how long the loan is, and all those things like that
to draw it out.
To get it to the payment that you want, but it's like it's not the thing that you should be negotiating. But we've been conditioned that way. We've been conditioned that way to think that that's
everything's about payments. What are your payments? What are your payments?
Yeah.
Not what the total debt is, and that puts the people in a really, really bad situation. I know the average household has got like crazy debt. When you don't count home
records, it's record high. Everything is record high right now. Car payments too. The fact that the average car payment's over $700 is crazy. That's an entire unit.
I can't believe that.
And that's crazy because you got to factor in.
Now that's average. Is that because some are so high? Because that sounds insane to me. A $700 car payment. That's crazy.
It's really not when you look at all the average cars right now. It's like, it wasn't that long ago when you could buy a $20,000 car. Like your base model car now is $30,000, $40,000. Mm-hmm. That was like middle to high just 20 years ago.
I guess you're right.
So,
although it's because none of them are like they were back. Like I bought, like some of my first cars were so cheap, but they didn't have air conditioning, no power windows, no power steering. I don't think you could buy a car like that, right? You can't find a car like that anymore.
No.
Used.
No, it was brand new. I bought a brand new pickup truck.
You could do roll up windows.
Oh, it was like $13,000 out the door. It was a pickup 4-cylinder Toyota. It had no power steering, So like for people that know, kids don't understand. Like if you're at a full stop and you got to turn, you get a nice little workout.
My buddy used to drive. So my best friend, he drove a 54 Chevy pickup truck with no power steering.
Oh, yeah.
And he had one of those little GT wheels.
And
like
it was a small.
I did the same thing.
I used to
so
sit.
Dumb.
So he used to pick me up for school, and then we used to back into our parking spot, and I used to have to. So he would crank, and I would help him. We both be like,
tug,
he'd be
the
pulling
other
this side,
tug,
I'd be
other
pulling on
tug.
this side, and then to crank the wheel to get it backed in. What do you got for me, Doug?
So cheap. Well, there's some $20,000 cars there.
Yeah. So sub $20,000 cars are going to go the way of the Dodo, Sue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So 18,160 is the cheapest.
Get out of here with the Corolla. You could still get a Corolla. I mean, these are like
They're basic base level.
the
Yeah,
most,
of course. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like
made out of plastic.
now you have computers in every single car. You know what I mean? I had analog radio.
Man, that's pretty good. You can get a Corolla. You can get a Corolla still for 23. That's not bad. See, now I bought my Corolla S, which was the highest level of the Corolla, for about 24. So it's almost the same price. Now it's their lowest model. That was back when I bought mine in.
Yeah. I want to get an old car with my kids just to trip them out.
I told
like,
him,
hey, open the
you gotta
window.
learn manual stick shift because, dude, that's the best insurance policy.
It is.
Around.
Cops will tell you it's the best.
Nobody can drive those
It's
anymore.
the number one deterrent from car theft.
I wonder who was it that told me this? I think my wife told me this. That it's a turn on when a man can drive stick, because I guess a lot of men can't drive stick.
Is it turn on?
Yeah, she's like most women. She told me women think it's hot when a guy can drive
That's funny.
stick shift. And I think it's a lot of dudes
Check
can't
this
do
out.
Yeah. I learned on that. Did you guys learn on it?
That's how I got my driver's license.
Yeah, me too.
I drove a Dodge Colt, a 19, I don't know what year it was, 80 something Dodge Colt. It actually had stick shift, and then there was another stick that could go power or economy. So the thing, I mean, I put in power. Let me tell you,
Mine was a shitty Honda.
It was like
Civic.
75 horsepower.
Yeah, manual. But what I loved was my dad took me to this lumber yard, and in the back it was like all these huge puddles, and it was a big like parking lot. And so the whole thing was for me to go as fast as possible and then hit and hydroplane and then work my way out of it. And it was like so much fun, and it was crazy, you know, and like, but it honestly, to this day, it saved me a few times because I was super calm. One time when I hit black ice, when I totally could have lost control and like killed everybody and myself in the car, and quite a few times. Yeah, it's just like it's a handling thing. It's knowing how to be able to stay calm and not overcorrect.
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
So I'm totally doing that with my kids.
What's the medium price, Doug? Give me the medium price for a car right now. Like, you know, you gave us the cheapest.
Let me ask you guys this: how do you do? Maybe you know this, Adam. How do you do an e-brake turn now that you can't? There's no more e-brakes.
Oh yeah,
no, it's all a button now.
Or like you step
or like a
on
stomp.
it.
Like, because remember, I used to do. You guys e-brake turn? Where
You can't do that anymore.
You can't.
No, you can't do that anymore.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, you can't do that in the cars that they make now.
Well, you only really needed that with the manual, right? Because like if you're on a hill, like I would have to pull e-brakes sometimes in San Francisco.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The average car sold now. So look at that. The average car sold for $47,000, Sal, in January.
That used to be a luxury car, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, 47,000. That was a top end for sure. That was like a really nice Mercedes back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so you add that, and then you figure the interest rates now are on car loans are minimum 5 to 8%. So
you know,
that's how you get the car payment that high.
I think I've only ever had I had a car payment once in my entire life, and I only had it for like 6 months, and then I paid it off. I've never had a car payment.
Even when you were younger, huh?
Never.
Wow.
Never.
So
So two things. This is my saving grace. One is
you and I are in different camps on that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I know. Well, don't act like you had a plan. I think you just wanted nice stuff. You weren't sitting there like
no. I mean, even now,
interest.
even now, I'll finance things.
Yeah, but
right?
now you're different. Now you understand money and finance. And
I
you're
actually
smart.
It sometimes it doesn't make logical sense, right? Because I know that I'll finance something and I'm making less, let's say, in my my savings account or high interest. I'm making less than the loan or whatever.
But when you were a kid, you weren't doing these numbers.
No, but what I like, just for me, for budget reasons, is I pretend like it doesn't exist, because it's a bill. It's like I don't own that money. I don't have that money, and so I like to do that, and then I like to have that capital to be able to go do other things.
If you're
with
smart and you understand finance, then there's a way to work it to where you really come out on top. But most people don't know that.
Yeah.
Most people don't look at their interest rate here and realize, wow, instead of paying off that $50,000 car, I'm paying this much interest, and I can make more of that if I invest it over here.
Yeah.
So it'd be dumb to pay it off. Let me take that money and put it over here.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that. Now, when I was a kid, I didn't understand that either. What I did was I was brought up by poor immigrants, and debt was like a bad word when I was a kid. Like, you never owe any money.
Yeah.
That was all the money advice I got as a kid.
Yeah.
So, and then the other part is I'm so disorganized, I was afraid I'd miss a bill. So I'm like, what if I forget to pay? So I just don't want a bill.
Oh, I mean, that's smart.
I've gone through a whole journey of levels of that. So just like everything paid off. That was like the mantra, you know, same thing from the beginning. And then it was credit card to build your credit score, and then you pay it off every month. Whatever you paid, I had to pay off like every single month. And then later on, I'm like, well, okay, so I could also invest this here and then like keep that going. So
I still pay everything
levels.
else. I'm still not a debt guy.
Now, do you use because this like I don't use my debit card at all. I use my Amex for everything.
Yeah,
Get the points,
and then at the end of the month,
I get points.
Yeah.
Because credit cards can give you some great, like I get.
And not only that, the main reason that made me do that more than the points, because that's like a bonus to it, was actually fraud reasons.
Yes.
So if you get your debit card, and if you buy a lot of things online like I do, and you use your debit card, they get that, you're fucked, and they take the money out.
The bank to replace it.
Bro, that's a headache, and then your account's frozen.
Credit card, just like you don't know.
Credit card, they go battle it for you, so they don't mess, and they'll do right away. They flag it as fraud. They go handle all of it. Nothing stops for you. So that was the main reason why I switched to that.
You know, one of the top places that steals your credit card or debit card info, the gas pump.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The gas pump.
Really?
You know what they do? They put what are called skimmers.
It's like a chip that they put in there.
They'll cover it with this perfect replica of what it looks like to put your credit card, and there's a chip in there that just gets the number.
Yep.
And it still works. It'll still pay the gas and everything, but it collects all the data. Then due to whoever drives by,
whoever came up with this is a genius.
That is
collects their skimmer and has on.
You always think, okay, the guy who came up with that would have been rich doing something else. I always think.
I know.
It's always interesting to me that the smartest of criminals would also have been the smartest that they played by the rules.
I know.
It's like, it's so crazy to me, like why you chose that direction, because to apply yourself enough to figure that out and to create that, it's like there's brilliance there.
I wonder if they have that same deficiency, like adrenaline or whatever. Like same thing with like these extreme rock climbers.
You're probably right.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like they need the rush of the fact that like this is illegal,
or they never had a really good mentor. You know,
they grew up.
I had a lot of people like that work for me in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, I've run a lot of clubs with people who work for me, who definitely, did things on that other side. But then through working with them, mentorship, they became incredible performers and salespeople. I know them all now. They're all fathers and very successful, but because they had some mentorship there. So I think that makes the big difference. Because you're right, the skills that make you very successful at creating shit like skimmers and stuff like that, you could apply that to the market.
The amount of ingenuity you see in prisons, alone, it's pretty insane.
Yes.
Like, to see how they like come up with ways to get stuff from the outside, like how they can make
how they make wine. You ever seen how they make alcohol?
Shanks out of anything?
Yeah.
Have you seen how they make alcohol?
Oh yeah, alcohol. Yeah,
it's crazy. Or how they talk to each other through the toilets. Have you seen that?
Yeah, they make their own languages up. They do all kinds of crazy stuff.
You got a bunch of dudes with nothing better to do. You have some serious ingenuity.
I mean, it just shows you that if again, directed, right mentorship, whatever, applied the right direction, because there's brilliance there for you to be able to do that.
I got to tell you guys something. This is going to piss everybody off, but I don't care. So
yes,
I saw this morning, and I get really upset when I see this because, by the way, I predicted this. I predicted that there would be an amnesia when we look back at the complete clown show,
in utter
insanity, traumatizing, just corrupt garbage that that whole narrative was all complete lies and garbage, 100%. And the amnesia is this. There's still people watching right now who are like, no. Yes, it was.
Could have been so much worse.
No, it was terrible. Listen, AstraZeneca's COVID vaccine has just gotten withdrawn globally. Did you hear about this?
I just heard about that.
Because of thrombosis. So, okay, if you said blood clotting or thrombosis at all during that whole period, you would have got deplatformed. Your business would have been lost. In some cases,
so many people I want to slap.
Persecuted. Oh, so hard.
Yeah,
so hard. I remember when people lost their jobs for not agreeing to inject themselves with an experimental. It was an experiment at the time. Vaccine. Which, by the way, if you said that would have got you kicked off. I remember a lot of the stuff that happened
biggest
back then.
hustle of all time, dude.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And now they're pulling them off the market for the exact same things that the quote unquote conspiracy theorists said were true.
Yeah.
Oh, it blows me away. And there's still people like, oh, we never forced anyone. That didn't happen. We still saved a lot of lives.
Dude, and the
No,
amount of
data's
verbal
clear.
diarrhea, like I saw a few of the reps, I don't know if it's from Pfizer or like Moderna, but they were like grilling them about like the efficacy of the vaccine. And it was just like trying to pull the yes or no questions. And then they're, well, you know, some data was unclear about this.
Bullshit.
Like, yes or no? Like, did it prevent, you know, transmission? Did it,
Listen.
you know, and like they won't just be like, no, we thought it would, but no. You know, and it's just like, it's very clear.
No, actually, the data is really clear now. There's a group of people that got a net positive, and they were like sick old people. Everybody else, almost everybody else, did not get a net positive from these. But we also, on top of it, shut down and destroyed small businesses, caused people to lose their jobs, traumatized and permanently caused cognitive issues with children because you took a bunch of kids out of school or forced them to wear masks. The part of the brain that reads faces had to develop differently. They're showing this strong evidence now.
Yeah, that's always been the case.
You caused more suicides. You caused more drug overdoses. You destroyed the economy. You caused inflation. It was a complete failure. And data is now showing that we probably killed more people because of our policies. Not just saved people. We actually killed more people as a result.
Did you see the interview that Patrick Bet-David did with Chris Como? He was talking about
he's on ivermectin.
Yeah, he's talking
because he
about-
has long COVID.
Yeah. And he was talking about
he was like one of the guys like
Yeah.
saying
Making fun
it
of
was
Joe
a
Rogan.
horse.
well, exactly. And what he said
Horse
though is
dewormer.
that like it was the information that they were giving them. Like that's like so
course.
you had all
Yeah.
the
Here's the predictions that I made.
Yeah.
Amnesia, that didn't happen, and the next is going to pass the buck, blame it on someone else, and then they're gonna pick fall guys because
Yes.
people are like, this is crazy. No, and they're gonna start, you know, they're gonna pick sacrificial lambs.
It's all going to be on Diddy now.
Speaking, I was just gonna bring him up. Speaking of fall guys,
Really? Okay.
where's Diddy at?
I don't know, but did you see there were
Yeah,
a
we
bunch
haven't
of,
heard anything.
Who
there were a
did
bunch
Diddy?
of cars outside Drake's house? Did you see that? Look that up, Doug.
Oh well, you know what you don't know what's going on right
No,
now.
I don't.
You just brought something up you don't
I
even
did.
know about, do you?
Yeah, that's a whole nother
Yeah,
thing,
there's
right?
beef going on between Drake and Kendrick right now.
Why is there a bunch of
like
cars?
the craziest? Okay, you remember Tupac Biggie
Yeah.
battles back and forth?
Yeah.
Kendrick and Drake are like on another level right now.
Well, why are there a bunch of cop
But
cars
is it
outside?
really
Because
that intense?
there was there ended up someone getting like shooting guns in front of Drake's house. So
Really?
last week, this all happened last week. You guys are late
bunch
to the
of
party.
rich ass entertainers shooting each
They
other.
don't even
Relax.
seem that gangster. It's just kind of funny to me.
Well, that's why I mean that's the critique right now is like get out of here, you guys. You guys are both ridiculous with this. Like it's not
They're
not
like
even that.
bubblegum rap.
It started off with just shit talking in their songs, and then it got like, but it was it's like the most viral sensation that's happened in the last week, right? Like it caused more like views to their
that
songs
makes money,
because they were dropping these like by the hour. So just like a couple of days ago, like
the
three
diss tracks. And all
yeah,
that?
and they were
Okay.
really good. They're actually
You know what?
really good.
Adam, you come on. I'm surprised you didn't say this because you're the first person to always go here.
Well, I don't bring this type of
No,
stuff up.
not that.
Oh,
Listen,
oh,
what do
oh.
you think? Do you think this is real, or do you think they talk to each other and plan it out to
so I was
sell?
talking to my brother-in-law about that. So the only reason why I think it's real is because this goes back a long time ago. Like, so they've said stuff about each other like lightly in songs in the past. And so it was already known that they didn't like each other. Now it escalated like crazy right now. And Kendrick's saying some things that are like saying that Drake's a pedophile and
that's not a joke.
yeah. So and then they're talking about each other's girls, their family, their kids.
Yeah.
So that's why it's escalated to this is because it's gotten really, really personal. That's the only reason why I don't think it's staged. Normally I would think it's staged.
Yeah.
But these guys are like taking shots at like family and
that's
pedophilia and like you know what I'm saying? Like if you decide to stage it, it's like you probably set some rules and boundaries. Like, hey, leave my wife and kids out of this and leave but they're going
Like,
like
your face looks dumb. You know,
Yeah.
just start there.
yeah, so they're going pretty
You're not a
hard
good
right
rapper.
now.
I know.
And so what happened? It was
I don't even
outside
try.
Drake's house. There was a shooting
A
outside.
security guard got hit.
Did someone get
That's
hit?
what it said, yeah.
Yeah.
Now Drake, wasn't he? Who was that actress from Stranger Things? That girl, that
11?
Yeah, but what's
That
her
one?
name?
I don't know.
You just know the character name?
Yeah.
I forgot. Maybe look her up. I can't remember. 11. Yeah, that was her name of the show.
You know what I'm talking
Billy,
about?
what? Okay. When she was 15, she was interviewed and she said that Drake was her friend and that he gives her all this dating advice, talks to her about boys. So people are pulling that up because of the.
Because of the pedophilia talk. Yeah. So that's kind of like where this all stems from is that he's got all these young girl. I mean, he's like all the girls love him, right? And he has a young audience, and so Kendrick's been
Disgusting.
And it doesn't help with like all the P. Diddy stuff that's coming out. And so that's how this got escalated really fast, was that Kendrick made that shot, and then he came back at Kendrick. And
wow.
So was it
some of the best songs
J.
I've heard in a
Cole
long time.
this for a minute? Like
Okay, you guys know that J. Cole's like my favorite rapper
yeah,
of this era.
I've actually listened to him.
And he actually, this is what he did. He came out and he dissed Kendrick, and then Kendrick came back really hard. And then J. Cole came back and actually like apologized and pulled it off his record. And he basically said, I don't want to be an example to young men today, like of shit like this.
Oh, that's good.
That's right. That's why, I mean, he's got class like that, dude. That's why I'm such a fan.
Love all that
Of
shit.
course, a bunch of kids that want to see the beef and all that stuff happen on, but it's like, man, that's what's wrong with a lot of these rappers. And that's one of the things I like J. Cole about, is the stuff that he raps about is about he's about growth. He's about being a better person.
Good.
And he's lyrically talented. And so he started to engage, and then he removed himself and said, you know,
good.
yeah.
I don't know who he is, but I like that.
Yeah, I thought so too. And so he was originally in all this too. But.
Okay.
All right, some more crazy stuff. Did you hear? Did you see what Robert F. Kennedy posted?
No.
Recently?
You just told me this, and I mean, it's kind of like, duh. Like I mean, who here thinks that polls are accurate?
So Robert Kennedy did a post on X, which I'm sure they won't show anywhere else. He says, "Hey Trump, I'm grateful for you calling attention to the rigged polling methodologies that the biased DNC influenced media have used against you." He goes, basically agreeing, like the polls are they're lies, they're full of shit. So he did his own poll with Zogby, which is the largest and most accurate poll of this election cycle. So he paid a third party, do a real poll. Let's see what the real numbers show. Trump versus Biden. Trump beats him big time. Robert Kennedy also beats Biden. In a three-way matchup, Trump wins, but RFK is right behind him. Mm-hmm. Now, here's why this is crazy. The polls show RFK in single-digit numbers. So he did this other poll, and it says, no, he's way above what they're showing. So
yeah.
That's so slimy if that's true. Dude, it's so slimy.
I mean, it's believable because I think Kennedy pulls to both sides better than any of them do.
Totally. Yeah, and he's
the
so reasonable.
He's the most centric one of all three.
Also, and I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but does anybody really support Biden? I mean,
yeah.
Does really anybody?
Have you talked to anybody ever who's like, yeah, I totally love him.
No,
he doesn't look like
the thing that anybody who supports him, what they say is he's better than Trump. That's the
but who
nobody
you know someone who said that?
Yeah.
Right now, still?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even now?
Oh yeah. No,
okay.
I still have the same. I have the same amnesia friends you're talking about. That still think that
they don't think he's like they still think mentally.
They still think that the way we handled COVID, we did the best that we could have.
Wow.
They still think that Biden is a better choice than Trump.
Wow,
that
second part, okay, fine, because politics or whatever. But the first part, they think we handled it right.
It's not that they think we handled it right. They think with the information that we had.
Oh, so they're apologetic. They're apologetic, basically.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like with the information that we had, we did it the best way. We did it the best way that we could have, and who knows how many lives we actually saved because of the vaccine.
We do know.
Yeah, I mean,
we know now.
That's the problem now.
No, there's people that still really believe that it would have been massively worse had we not did the vaccine,
better.
And there's still
it would have been better.
There's still
been so much better.
It just points me to the power of the internet. And
yes,
if you can get enough of these platforms that you have control of, which we saw with Twitter, and of course that's when you get really into all these other companies that are involved, you're going to see like a backdoor hand in a lot of these influential bots. And dude, this reminds me of, okay, you guys saw this ad on Instagram, right? It was the ad for, you could do a live stream, but now you could show that you have like 20 to 30,000 people all of a sudden watching your live stream.
I shared that with you guys.
It's 100% fake.
Yeah, I showed you guys that.
And not only that, they had to do multiple screenings of like getting rid of everybody's like followers because like half to like more than half of their following were all fake. And so it's like what we're seeing is literally an artificial environment.
Listen,
I don't believe any of this.
That was
shit.
a video. I shared that with you guys. It was a video of the guy. He's picking up a girl in the bar, and he's like, "Hey, I'm on live." He's at like a bar in like Mexico.
By the way,
and the girl sees that he's got like thousands of people famous. Like, are you famous?
Dude,
like,
you're famous.
Can I tell you some of the most embarrassing videos I've ever seen? There's a lot of douchebags out there
cringe.
too. Okay, there's a lot of dudes that are obviously, but the embarrassing ones for women are the ones where the guy goes up to a girl. He tries to talk to her. She totally like, I don't have time for you. Whatever. I got a boyfriend. And he goes, okay. And then he walks over to his Lamborghini. And all of a sudden, Oh, this is your car? Oh, hey baby, let's hang out.
Oh, I haven't seen those.
How?
Have you seen those? I haven't seen
So
those.
many.
Oh, really? I haven't
How
seen those.
embarrassing. Like you look like such a terrible human being that you just did that. That's what happened with that Instagram one. Because the dude goes up to a girl, she sees he's got a bunch of followers and instantly changes her energy.
So so it's interesting that you think that because you love to take things all the way back to evolution.
I know why it's there.
Okay.
I
So
understand.
evolutionary, that is no different than the dude who say, 1,000 years ago was she says, no, thank you. Then he walks over and he gets his 3 deer that he just killed and he drags it off.
Of course.
And she goes, oh my God, actually, so it's not really different than that. That is modern times a way of flexing your capability of hunting.
Of course.
Same thing.
I know that.
So-
I get that. But
So that's less cringe to me.
in the moment,
It's
though,
more cringe to me that the dude who's like, look, I got 1,000 people following me on this fucking artificial.
which doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, that means nothing. Doesn't mean you can hunt. Doesn't mean anything. It means you understand how to hack
It's
tech.
just
or
phony
whatever.
baloney, dude.
Yeah, that to me is way more cringe. The Ferrari thing, at face value says cringe, but in that's just modern times your ability to hunt. If you can afford that thing, that means the guy's been able to go potentially provide.
I
for the
totally
family.
understand that. I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it. It's just when it's in the moment when she
I know, I
literally
get it.
said "screw you," and then 2 seconds later,
Yeah.
Axel.
I mean, I get it. It's not.
so like,
it's
oh
poor.
my
It's
God.
poor taste, no matter how you draw it up.
Yes.
But I get it too, though. I mean, I understand that's. I think
know.
that's innate. It's in.
It is.
It's in you, and it's like
This is why this is my favorite statistic that highlights, kind of how different men and women are. A scar on a woman's face will almost always bring her attractiveness down from men.
Yeah.
A scar on a man's face
Goes up.
makes him more attractive.
yeah.
Why? Because evolutionarily,
Battle tested.
Yeah.
you're like, oh, he's
So I never fixed
tough.
my nose.
he's fought before
That's
and
right.
survived.
He's battle tested.
You know?
Yeah, I know.
That's why you never fixed your nose.
Yeah.
He became hotter.
Yeah.
Your nose doesn't even look like you broke it.
What do you mean? I did a good job because I
Yeah.
did it myself.
It's very straight. You did it yourself?
Yeah, it was like all the way over here.
Was it really?
Yes.
You were smelling
I wish
sideways?
you had a picture of that.
I was. I know. I wish I
Wait
did.
a minute. What do you mean you did it yourself? How?
You just
I looked at the mirror and I just slowly. It hurt real bad.
Oh,
man.
just
I
the
was
thought of that
just
hurts.
pushed it because even when it's
What if
still
it fell out your
this
nostril?
way. Like as I breathe, I'm breathing like diagonally.
No, you're not.
I'm serious.
Do you have a
So you like
deviated
this?
septum?
You
I'm gonna
around?
have you feel it later.
No, I don't want to do
I
that.
don't
Do you have a
know.
deviated
That
septum?
sounded weird. No.
You sure?
Was it
Yeah.
from a football hit?
No. This is from a fight. Yeah.
Oh, it's from a fight.
I like how
Yeah,
Justin always gets a little embarrassed when he talks about fighting.
I don't like talking about it. It sounds like a douche.
You know why? Because you probably started the fight. That's why.
I probably did.
Hold on. Did you win or lose the fight?
I won that fight.
You still won after that?
Yeah, that
Really?
pissed me off. Yeah, I kind of went crazy on. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
How many? You ever lost a fight?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
What was
yeah.
that like?
So it was embarrassing more than it was like painful.
Of course.
Yeah, it was more like so I was talking shit about this guy and he this is when I was younger and he was actually like with his friend like hiding. So I was down where this like one of my neighbor's houses, there was this like basketball court and there's this retaining wall and they were kind of like hiding down the retaining wall. I think they were trying to like mess with me anyways and I got in kind of like a verbal spat with them down at the bus stop and I come back and I'm like talking shit to one of my friends about them and they're down there hiding and then jumps up, hey, what's up, man? You talking shit? And I'm like, yeah, like almost scared because they like took me by surprise. And then we just got into it and like it was one of these weird fights where I'm like, it's in slow motion. I'm kind of punching, hitting air. I'm like, this isn't working, and then he kicked me a few times and like kicked me like
He's a martial artist and shit?
yeah, and he kicked me in the ribs, and I like it took the air out of me, and I was like I couldn't breathe, start crying, and I was like, oh no, it was so embarrassing.
I've never been kicked before.
I was so it's because everything was so unexpected.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a kick at all.
And-
Well, when he jumped out from the thing,
Yes,
okay, you
I was
gotta
like already like I don't know.
I had a buddy
I was
that-
already scared, and so it made me even more like
One of the fights we got into went down like this. We were at a party. We were at my buddy's house, the guy who got laid out. He was talking shit about this other guy so imagine like a suburban house, right? And we're at the bottom of the driveway and people are in the garage drinking, smoking and stuff like that. And the garage is cracked open. and my buddy is drunk talking shit about a guy who's in the garage, could hear everything. And dude just like slides out from the truck and running downhill, and buddy turns around and just blah, just fucking sends his ass, bro, lights out from that. I was like, oh.
I got did I ever tell you I got in a little fight at 24.
At 24 in the gym?
So Don was my general manager. I was a weekend manager. I just moved over fitness manager, and there was the another senior sales counselor or whatever, or one of the top sales guys. Him and I were getting in an argument, and Don, I hope he doesn't get mad when we say this. He was like, why don't you guys just like iron it out right here or whatever? So he started pushing me. We started fighting, and I put him in a guillotine, and I put him to sleep. I choked him out.
Oh,
yeah, he fell on the ground. And he got up and he got really scared.
Using your purple belt moves.
No,
dude.
this was before. This was I just UFC watching.
I have.
And I knew I had something.
Bro.
I used to think I knew karate.
I'd never lost in a fight, but I haven't been in a ton like outside. But in a jiu-jitsu tournament, I got embarrassed terribly.
Yeah,
terribly. I had won a tournament. Nobody scored a point on me. I was super cocky going to the next tournament. And it took the guy 15 seconds to submit me. Oh. And I had my family there. Everybody's there. Sal's going to do so great. Yeah. And it was single elimination. So they showed up. They waited all day for me to fight. Purple belt division.
Yeah.
15 seconds, tap out. All right, guys, we're going home. I was so embarrassed, dude.
Damn it, dude.
I was so bad.
I had an embarrassing, talk about 24-hour fitness and fighting, embarrassing. So remember, I'm only like 21 years old. And so.
An adult.
Well, I didn't. So this is even more embarrassing because I didn't even get into a fight. I had been talking to my staff about one of the last fights I'd been in, and I was telling them how I like whooped this guy's ass, right? And they were talking shit to me that they didn't believe me. I said, I've got photos of it. So and they're like, get out of here. I'm like, yeah, no, this was like a big deal. Like there was a huge crowd there. People took photos, video of everything like that. So I had all these photos of it, and I had brought it to work.
You saved the photos?
Yeah.
Do you still have them?
No, I don't.
Oh.
No, HR took them. So I got.
Wait a minute, they never gave them back?
Bro, yeah, the next day I was audited. And I didn't even remember that I had brought them to work the day before, and they were in like my manager binder.
Wait a minute,
on the fucking manager.
Hold on a second. You got audited for something else?
Wow.
And they audit you and they find photos of your street fight?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Swear to God, bro.
Oh, wow.
I think back of old times. Like I'm
why
so lucky I kept my job.
Hey, listen.
It was only because.
You and I, okay, I feel like one of the reasons why people kept telling me to work with you and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because we have a very similar story.
Yeah.
We both
blackballed, bro.
should have been fired multiple times.
At least,
but our performance kept us in the job.
At least 4 times I've been in the office with HR, and then they wanted to fire me. Like I was known by, like they knew who I was. They'd been down to visit me more than once.
I wish I worked with you. I wish we actually worked together to clean. We would have got out of blazing glory.
Oh my God, so embarrassing, dude. What am I doing with the photos like that? I think back as like I'm an adult managing other men and women, and I'm like, I got a high school street fight.
Dude,
like
check this out
in my binder. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then to get caught by the HR like rep, like, what is this? Like, that was bad.
Wow,
story. Embarrassing.
Yeah, I got pulled in to. I told you guys this. I left the company, and I left in a blaze of glory and told the president F off or whatever. Thought I'd never get hired back. I got brought, and then while I was gone, I was had a gym down in Palm Desert, and I got shopped by a 24-hour fitness vice president who's a good friend of ours now, Mike Apple, right? Mm. So I don't know who he was. He's pretending to be a member, shopping us. As he walks out, Don recognizes him. I'm like, oh, that's a VP for whatever. Fuck you. As he's on his way out. That's what I said to him. So, I don't know, a year later, I get hired back to 24, and they gave me the club I wanted, which was up here in San Jose. They had re-grand open Hillsdale. And I go in there and like, hey, before you start, this was actually before, not the audit. They're like, before you start, we want you to come up to headquarters up in Mountain View and meet with your VP and your. I'm like, okay, cool.
Introduced you to Mike.
I thought it was Curtis. I thought that was my VP. I love him.
Yeah.
So I walk in and it's the dude that shot me. As he walked out, that I said F off. Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. That's my boss. Oh my God. He turned out to be great. We became great.
I know I know he's a fan of the show too. Yeah. Shout out to Mike. I don't think Mike liked me either when we first started. So because I can't remember my first run in with him, but it wasn't good. I definitely had like that reputation, and it was all like stupid things, like just bad luck.
Yeah,
like
young stuff though. You're a young guy, and I feel like a lot of that kind of played into it.
Totally, I was hella immature. Come on, I didn't have a father figure to fucking slap me around and tell me that was stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't party with your employees. Dude.
Yeah, that was. I made so many dumb mistakes like that.
Yeah,
just
we were
being young.
kids. I was 18, 19, 20. I mean, you can't expect a 20-year-old to make. I hate saying
Hey,
that. because-
biggest lesson though. I mean, the biggest thing from it, take away more than anything else, is like is perform, man. I tell you what,
you get away with the law.
That's
do,
it.
I mean,
That's it.
You know,
Put
you
them
get a lot of
numbers up.
latitude. You get a lot of latitude when you
Forgiveness.
you show up. Hey, that's no different. Like professional sports stuff, like too. They put up with some personalities
They
on
do.
teams.
They do.
If you're the top scorer, you know what I'm saying. You score a lot, and then it's like, okay, we can figure this other shit out. So
did.
they definitely did.
Oh.
Hey, I thought for sure when you brought up the Kendrick and I gave you the beef thing, you were going to do a transition to commercial.
Oh, Butcher Boss.
Yeah, I thought it was a layup for you. I thought,
Hold on,
yeah,
hey,
I was
real
like, oh, they
quick.
got beef. Because I thought Sal would be like, speaking of beef,
Yeah, completely
speaking of
different
beef,
beef.
here's your
That's a
Butcher
big
Box
shift.
commercial.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
missed it, bro.
What a
You're missing what I'm
You gotta
doing.
give me a wink.
Man.
That's not it. That's too
All
obvious.
right. Hey, listen, but serious though. What are the steak tips? Who had the steak tips?
I've had them. Yeah,
Everybody's
quite a
talking
few
about
times.
them.
I think Doug's had them too.
So they're just chunks of steak.
Yeah, they're almost like cubed. Like they're really good. I do skewers with them
Are
sometimes.
they pre-cooked or you cook them yourself?
No, cook them
I
yourself.
cook them.
Oh wow! And so, and what do you marinate them or what?
Sure.
Can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or just season them. If you do skewers, just slice an onion
Both.
or a bell pepper in between and do like a
I haven't
I
tried
love
it
barbecue
yet.
bell
like that.
peppers,
But I'm
and
seeing
white
people,
rice.
people
Yeah.
are posting about the steak tips. Apparently, it's a really
Is it one?
big
It's one of the freemiums this month, right?
It is. You get you can get those free in every box for a year if you order.
awesome.
And or salmon.
Or you could choose salmon or chicken breasts. So you have a
Awesome.
choice between the three.
I just remembered. I got to show you guys something. I thought of the perfect gift for each other. I think all of us would enjoy this.
Okay,
Doug, Google
it's not often we all have the same.
paintball security camera.
Oh, that sounds cool.
It's exactly what I said it is.
A paintball.
It's a security camera
That's way better
that
than
shoots
Nest
that
or,
shoots paintballs at people.
Stupid. That's ridiculous.
That's amazing.
It is
Imagine
ridiculous.
having that in front of your house and just
Well, you remember the Ring one I told you guys about? That's super cool. Where you actually it's actually a drone that just takes off and then
Yeah.
flies around.
yeah, but you
this-
can't shoot them.
So this thing shoots.
shoots.
Come on, let me see
I
this.
swear to God, pull it up.
Let me see this.
I'm gonna buy one for sure.
I think this would be
Mainly because I have a crow that comes and eats my garbage, pulls the garbage out of my garbage. I'm
Oh,
not
do you
gonna
really?
shoot-
It's
I'm
a
not
crow
gonna
that's doing that?
I'm not going to shoot a crow. with
Not a
paintball.
raccoon?
I don't want to say that.
What
on the
is
air.
this?
You're not gonna
That's
do
it
that.
right there.
How does this work?
It.
Where do you mount it? Or
So
where do you
push
set it?
play on the video there. Watch this.
Let me see this. Blow it up. I want to see it. Blow it up. It's on the bottom right.
Here we are.
Oh, we got to wait for the ad.
Can you?
That neighbor's dog that takes a shit on my lawn all the time.
Yeah, this could be cool.
I mean, how amazing would this be?
Yeah, no, this is cool.
There we are. Trying to skip the ad here.
Yeah. Your first time on the internet. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Doug's a big Google guy.
It's an AI security camera. Oh wait, it literally shoots. I think it might be motion detected.
This is hilarious.
No way, dude. Oh, he's all.
Dude, how awesome is that? Tell me right now you're not going to want to go buy one.
I do want to buy
You have
this.
5 seconds to leave the
So
premises.
I want to know if it just automatically fires on anybody
think
who's
it
like,
is.
imagine,
Any kind of warning?
'cause I get people that walk back. My camera goes off every day and every night around dusk because everyone walks their dogs
That'd be
around.
a problem because we do have neighbor kids coming over. Is ever here to play?
Oh my! Look, this guy's aiming. You can aim with it. So you pull up your phone. You get on the app.
that is.
You can aim and
All right,
fire.
who's the company? We got to shout this company out, even though we're not paid by this. So I
Dude,
wanna
knowing
know
my
about it.
luck, my
Who is it?
oldest would hack in and figure out,
How to blast
how
you?
to blast people.
Paint cam.
Paint Cam.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is brilliant.
Also,
Writing it
did you
down.
know you could buy a drone dog that has a flamethrower on it?
I
you know
did
that?
I
see
did,
that.
yeah. Is that Boston Dynamics? Because it looked like one of their robots.
No, I don't know, but I think you could buy it. I think
Like it's
you
a flame
or I,
thrower.
flamethrower drone dog or robot dog. Doug, maybe
That
you can
makes
look that up.
no sense why
I-
somebody be allowed to buy that.
I don't know, but I kind of feel like if you had one and I had one,
Yeah.
we could
could train
battle.
them.
No, we could battle.
Oh, like battle bots.
Flamethrow battle.
No, what I want to
that'd be
get
sick.
is and I want this for the Truckee house for the ice is there's an attachment for Doug's guns that's a flamethrower. It just
Why does it have to go on a gun?
Doesn't go. Yeah, just it's
No.
standalone.
There's
Look at look at this dog, bro.
There's an attachment for
Hey,
your gun.
Look at this dog. It's a fucking. It's terrifying. Look at that.
That is terrifying.
Look at that, dude. We're so fucked.
Oh my God.
We're
It's going to get weird. There's going to be so many like.
You
called
can
the-
buy it.
You can buy that?
It's called the Terminator. It's $9,400.
Like what could go wrong?
Listen to
You
me.
know,
Listen to me.
like who?
Listen to me.
I mean, between
the shit hits the
who
fan-
ever
imagine
abused
having a
this,
property
you
where
know?
you've got the dog flamethrower, you got the paintball thing, like sick.
Yeah, but think about it right now. Let's say there's a solar.
This can't be good for the climate, you guys.
Yeah. Well, okay. Listen. Imagine there's a solar flare, power goes out, shit hits the fan. You got this. You're set, man. You just stay in your house. You're like, nobody's coming inside.
If your neighbors know you got a
I'm surprised.
flame-throwing dog.
That's actually legal.
Apparently.
Yeah, good question.
Not in California.
I know.
Nothing's legal in
You can't-
California. Does that say it's $8,400 for that thing?
9,000.
9,000.
Well, yeah. How much
That's
you think
like a
flamethrower
middle of the
dog would
country.
cost?
Okay, yeah.
product.
So are flamethrowers legal in my area? The only state that's red is California.
Stupid.
Oh, the only one.
Does that mean we can't use it for the turkey house? That's
We can't
so
have
lame.
nothing fun here.
Gavin
dude.
Newsom doesn't allow any fun.
Stupid. I want to have a flamethrowing dog.
What is that?
Yeah.
They're showing how it's made. So hold on a second. Why'd you think you attached a flamethrower to his
Because
gun?
we're Doug
I'm
and
so
I get,
glad he didn't do that. That would've been
where Doug
terrible.
and I get the gun, our guns. That's exactly what it is. It attaches right to the AR. Goes
Really?
right to it.
and
Yeah.
it just blows flame.
So you can have a flame-throwing robot dog, but they still haven't figured out how to like have a dishwashing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Well,
guys.
because there's less
Bro,
precision.
you know what people have always said that is so interesting to me is, you know how many miles to travel to the moon and back, and rocket can go and do that, but we can't get a car to go past 100,000 miles. Like, that's fucking, think about that for a second.
They can. They can.
They totally can.
They don't
Of
worry
course
about
they can. You mean to tell me, like, for some reason, for the last, like, I don't know, what is it, 70 years, 50 or 100,000 miles is like just the max, like, cars go?
Hey,
Like,
wasn't there a guy that figured out how to get engines to run on water and then he disappeared? Justin, is that real? Do you remember that guy?
Yeah, that sounds like an urban legend, but it does. Yeah, it sounds like it ran off of like hydrogen, right? Like,
Something.
Yeah.
It was like a water powered something, and he was like showing people, and then he disappeared.
I've heard like a lot of stories like that, or like the first flying car, and like the guy, got like mysteriously, suicide.
it's so weird that a company wouldn't come out. I know you brought up that Rolls Royce stat, which I thought was really fascinating. I did not know that about Rolls Royce. But it's interesting that a company like that wouldn't come out with a really expensive car, and it's like, listen, you like lifetime warranty, and we take care of it.
You lose money eventually.
Huh?
You stretch it out long enough, you lose money.
Nah, not if you get them on the service side of it. You get them on the service side.
Do you know why? Do you know one of the challenges along those lines? One of the challenges with some of these new therapies with psychedelics, for example,
it works too well.
One treatment,
Yeah.
or 2 or 3 treatments, and then you won't have to see you again for 3 years or 2 years.
It's not a good business model. Huh?
No, so the pharma companies like, how do we make money off of this? How do we make money off of this one? You know what cluster headaches are? Have you ever heard of cluster headaches? They're the worst, right? I watched this whole.
It's not just a migraine. It's like
people commit
compounded,
suicide.
right?
They commit suicide, and there's no treatment except for psilocybin once every 6 months, and they don't get the cluster headaches anymore.
Wow.
But there's no way to make money off that. It's not patented, and what are you gonna do? Sell you 2 pills
Yeah.
a year? I don't know.
That's sad.
Yep. All right, let's do a shout out.
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah, let's keep shouting it out from the rooftops.
Well, I mean, I want it to because the countdown's happening. I mean, we're within the last 30 days until it goes down.
So it's mindpumplive.com. Sign up. Come see us in Vegas. It's going to be a really good time.
Yes, it is.
And we have a lot of friends coming.
We
too.
do have a lot of friends. I haven't told you guys. I've been on the horn with quite a few, so should have a lot of cool people that you guys have heard us hang out with in the past should be coming along. So
there's a company called Dynasty. It's extremely disruptive in the trust market. Here's what I mean by that. You can get yourself a trust for free. It takes about 10 minutes online. I'm not joking. You don't have to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars. You don't have to go through a lawyer. You go to getdynasty.com. You sign yourself up with a trust. It costs you nothing, and it only takes about 10 minutes. And then you can go from there. It's amazing. Again, getdynasty.com. All right, back to the show.
Our first caller is Kyle from Illinois.
What up, Kyle?
Oh yeah. This
Okay.
guy reads.
okay, yeah, I want to say you got the John Deere polo on. You got tons of books behind it. What do you do for work? I'm super curious now.
Yeah, I'm a software developer.
Oh,
So I develop a mobile app for John Deere.
Oh, good deal.
nice.
Okay, that makes
Awesome.
a lot of sense. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What's your question, man?
All right. Well, hey, a huge thank you for all the great content you guys put out so consistently and being willing to take my question. So I've been consistently, I'm 36, been consistently going to the gym every morning for the last 6 years. But for the bulk of that time, my focus was cardio. And I would occasionally throw in some light resistance training. But I found your show last fall, and totally changed my time at the gym. So I do just 10 or 15 minutes of cardio, and otherwise spend the entire time doing resistance training. So and just as I've gotten into it, I think one of the big factors that's slowing me down and slowing my recovery, and really you guys' emphasis on the importance of sleep is what made me realize this, is that I don't get great sleep, and that's not because I'm not trying. So I've tried my best to ensure that I allow myself 8 hours a night, and but I never really get 8 hours. I fall asleep very quickly. It's never an issue of falling asleep, but I get up multiple times through the night, and then the big deal is that I stay awake for between 30 minutes or an hour, and I track my sleep using my Apple Watch. I know that that's imperfect. That's not scientific, but it definitely is, enough to give me a measure, and I can see very consistently, fall asleep right away, and I get about, usually like 40 minutes of deep sleep, rarely more than that. Like the maximum I've ever seen of deep sleep is around an hour, which I know is way less than what it should be. And then I find myself waking up in the middle of the night and then wake for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, sometimes more. I've tried following your 3-2-1 rule on most evenings. Sometimes it's challenging to follow it really strictly. But I try limiting my fluids and try to wind down into bedtime as best I can. I've tried high carb, low carb. So the only diet related connection I can make is that it seems to be way worse when I'm in a calorie deficit versus a surplus. But I've not been able to make any connection between lifting days versus rest days. I usually Saturday, Sunday are more my rest days, and so, but it seems like doesn't really correlate. I've tried looking at different sleep products, like some of the ones that you've mentioned, but a lot of them are positioned to help you fall asleep faster, which is something I don't really struggle with necessarily. I've experimented some with low doses of melatonin, but just kind of doesn't really fix the root of the issue, just kind of makes me more drowsy. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I wish. Pardon?
Does your temperature fluctuate, and that's what kind of brings you up?
Yeah, what wakes you up? Are you having to go pee, or are you just randomly waking up out of nowhere?
It's both. I definitely have to go pee, 3 times a night ish, or sometimes more.
So you're like,
but sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes I wake up and I don't even have to go necessarily. So it's not just that, and it's not like I wake up sweating or extremely cold. Like I feel like, we manage our temperature. Normally we, try to get it down to like 67, either by opening the window or running the air or whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm. So there's, I think I know why, but first I'll ask you, do you consume alcohol or cannabis?
Not cannabis. I do have like a glass of wine on the weekends, but very light amount. Okay. I mean, I'm talking like less than 2 glasses a week.
Okay. And then you get sunlight during the day, right?
Yeah, that's a challenge. So I work remotely, so I'm in a shed next to my house. So I come out here in the morning before sunlight, and I usually, by the time I'm coming in, it's 5, 6 p.m. and then I have a family, so
that could help.
Okay, so
don't get a lot of sunlight.
So 2 things: sunlight does impact sleep quite a bit. So I would really try to make an effort. Either sit right next to the window, or if you could work outside for an hour,
or even get a 10-minute break salad.
Yeah, it just gets sun. Just get some sun, because we sit in the studio and we have electronic light, in here.
It definitely affects us.
This affects my sleep for sure, versus the weekends when I'm outside. But the second thing,
does it matter what time of day? Like,
early,
does it matter whether
earlier the better?
Earlier the better, but all day would be great. When the sun's out, get some sunlight. That just makes a difference. Okay. But I don't think that's the root issue. I definitely think that's contributing, and I think it'll help to get sunlight. But what you're saying sounds like textbook overstress, overtraining, very textbook. So typically, if your body is not managing stress, which includes workouts, it could be mental stress, it could be personal stress. When those things are overwhelming for the body, very classic textbook sign is waking up throughout the night. By the way, having to pee throughout the night, that happens when you wake up. You're not waking up because you have to pee. You wake up and then you have to pee. Sure. The body does a very good job of shutting that down if you're able to stay in a really, really good, stages of sleep. So I would look at workout. I would look at your personal stress. I don't know, if it is indeed your workout, like one thing you could try is you could take a week or 2 off exercise and just walk, just stay active. And then 3, 4, 5 days into it, if you notice your sleep dramatically improves, okay, then this probably has to do with stress. But it's very textbook. Okay, in my experience working with clients, what you're explaining, and sometimes it's hormone issues, this, that, and the other. It could be, but generally speaking, it's just the body's handling too much stress.
Did you say you're drinking caffeine? You're not drinking caffeine?
I do. Certainly. I did cycle off of it for a while over Christmas break. That was a good time to reduce. I wasn't, I don't know. I wasn't waking up as early, that type of thing. I didn't have to worry about work for quite a while, 2 weeks or so around Christmas. So I did get off of it 100%, but then I'm right back on it. So I absolutely rely on that. Yeah.
What's the latest time that you're drinking a caffeine drink or coffee?
Oh, yeah. And how much?
I only have it. So I work out right when I get up. I only have it right just before I work out, and then I have none for the rest of the day. Oh, okay. And I usually do like 200-ish, 200 to 300 milligrams.
And then what time do you go to bed?
It's pretty early. We usually are in bed by 9.
Oh, you're fine.
We put our kids to bed and we're ready.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, it's a stress thing. So what does your workout look like?
So I have MAPS Powerlift. And I can't say that I follow it super, super strictly. Like I watch the videos and do the workouts, but I more or less I know this is totally anti everything you guys preach. So this is, confession time, but I kind of just do whatever I try not to leave the gym exhausted, but I try to just fill whatever time I have. I try to fill it, and it also depends on how good I'm feeling at the time. So I definitely flirt some with overtraining, but I try to be conscious of the fact that I want to leave the gym feeling good, like you guys say. But I definitely don't follow the prescription to a T.
So this helps right now. And I'm curious what you think. Right away, what comes to mind for me is MAPS 15 advanced. And instead of spending 50 minutes to an hour in the gym, getting outside and getting in the sun. So it's like if you're dedicating 50 minutes to an hour to the gym, and I'm saying, give me 20 minutes in the gym and then get outside for 40 minutes and get in the sun, I think would benefit you more.
Yeah. So here's the textbook symptom of too much stress on the body. You fall asleep quickly, and then you wake up several times throughout the evening. You fall asleep quickly because you're exhausted. Your body's exhausted. So you hit the pillow and it's like, I'm out. But then you end up waking up throughout the night. That's textbook overtraining, overstress. You do have 2 kids. I know what that's like. How old are your kids?
So I've actually got 4 kids. So I've got a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and then a 1.5-year-old. So we're busy.
Okay, bro. What's going on? How you doing, buddy? It's too much stress.
We might prescribe hugs.
Yeah. You're doing too much. So you're managing too much. You're also software, engineer. So your work is probably stressful in the sense of
high performance,
deadlines. And then on top of it, it is stressful in the body to sit and look at a computer and do that all day long. Having kids,
I do that for 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. I literally.
No, Adam's prescription is it. That's what I would do.
MAPS 15, and then the other 30, 40 minutes go outside and just a nice walk.
That's it.
And actually do something for yourself very enjoyable. I don't know if you like listening to audiobooks or certain music. Choose something therapeutic to put in your ears and walk. Just get outside.
And you know what'll happen? By the way, here's what'll happen. You'll get stronger in the gym. That's how you know.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how you know, oh my God, I'm way stronger. Okay, this is moving in the right direction. So
and this one I'm going to ask you to follow to a T. So don't be doing your own shit. Follow it to a T as it's laid out.
Yeah.
MAPS Anabolic Advanced.
Yeah.
MAPS 15 Advanced version, which is the barbell version. And then the other 30 to 40 minutes, go outside the gym and just go walk out in the sunlight and put something in that's
have a huge
relaxing for you.
That'll be
relaxing music or audiobook. And just
that's
really
the biggest movers. I mean, we haven't talked about it in a long time, but I don't know if you wear any of the blue blockers in front of the screen the whole time you're on there. And
I've looked at them, I've looked them up, and then I get I'm not sure which one to get, and so I kind of get this paralysis of decision, and I've not not purchased any.
Yeah. So you think of a stress bucket, okay, and it's filled with water to the rim. Blue light blocking glasses is taking a teaspoon of water out of there. Changing your workout, like we said, is dumping a decent amount.
Yeah.
So, and then when your sleep gets better, your ability to handle more stress goes up.
And adding the sunlight in there is going to grow your bucket.
Yeah. So I would.
Those are the big ones.
Yeah. I just literally follow MAPS 15 advanced barbell. You're in the gym. You're doing 2 exercises. That's it. You're out. Don't go to failure. Spend some time outside, and then do the rest of your day. And you should notice some pretty profound impacts.
Doug's going to send that to you. And I'd love for you to follow back with us and let us know how this, give it a few weeks of doing this consistently, and then let us know how things are going. I feel pretty confident you're going to see.
I would do this because we're talking. What's today? Today's Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I would take the rest of the week off, start MAPS 15 advanced next week, and then that'll be a good start.
I don't know if I've ever taken. I know.
Oh, bro, you're just giving us more.
He's already. This will be good for you.
Take it off.
This is good. This is good. The more you talk, the more information that you just
confirming what I've said.
Just revealed.
I feel like the gym is my stress. Like that is my way to get rid of this.
Okay, Sal. Hey, so this is what if to take Sal's advice, so it doesn't feel like you're losing a limb, to just go for the walk for the rest of the week. So go outside. Sure. So start right now, getting outside instead of going lifting weights and hitting anything or running or doing anything intense. Go for a nice walk. You're going to burn some calories, get some movement.
I like what Adam's saying, because I'm assuming you leave the house, but if you stayed home for an extra hour and a half, then you got to deal with the kids and all that shit. So you're not really getting stress relief. So do what Adam said.
Go for a nice walk outside. I would love it. It's good, probably good weather. I don't know where you're at. Over here, it's nice weather right now. But if it's good enough weather to be outside, go outside. Do that for the rest of the week. Next week, start the MAPS 15 program the way we have it laid out. Don't add anything to it. And then the extra time, add that walk. And I promise you, give me a few weeks of that, and I think you'll feel
you'll notice within a week or two.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds solid. I'll give that a shot. I mean, it's certainly plausible. And thank you. But as it relates to overtraining, I've been living under the assumption that as long as I'm progressing, strength wise, I can keep upping progressive overload. As long as that seems to be going well, like I'm not overtraining. Is that
not necessarily?
That must not be true.
Well, the reason why it's not necessarily true, Kyle, with you is because this is relatively new for you. You are a run type of guy, and you're just now really becoming a weightlifting guy. So you're actually getting a lot of the newbie gains and benefits of getting strength. And so what's happening is it's telling you're getting that, and you're like, oh, I'm doing fine because I'm getting stronger. I'm doing better, so I must be fine. But that you're getting in spite of.
But what you're noticing right now is you're waking up. But if you keep going down this path, you'll start getting louder signals.
Yeah, it'll eventually stall.
What's cool, it's very clear. I've seen this personally with clients at least a dozen times, and then with other trainers and stuff like many times. It's very classic textbook. Too much stress. Literally fall asleep quickly, wake up throughout the night. That's that's 85% of the people who do that. That's what's happening.
I think you're going to see a profound difference just from the advice right here. If you follow it, that's going to be the key, is to take it and follow it. And I promise you'll feel difference.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. That sounds spot on. So I'll give it a shot.
Cool. Follow up with us.
All right, Kyle.
Thank you.
Okay.
Looking forward to hearing
back. Thank you so much.
You got it. Do you know who did the same thing?
What?
Mike Matthews. Mike Matthews and I were talking back and forth, and he was having issues with sleep, and he would tell us about it, like whatever. And he dropped his sets by a third. He's like, all of a sudden he could sleep. It's like, bro, I was overtraining. Yeah. It's a very classic textbook. And there could be other reasons.
It's funny.
This is always true, but it's often true.
The more he talked, the more I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I don't know.
I got kids. You got 4 kids.
Yeah.
Listen.
Come on.
To sit at a desk for 12 hours a day.
To anybody who's listening.
Anytime I sit for a couple hours straight looking at a screen, it fucks with me.
And by the way, to anybody who's listening right now, especially a trainer or coach who's like, oh my God, how did they know? It's just purely based off of experience. We've trained so many people for so long that I've seen enough people like this where I could guess, and then he confirms it as he continues along. By the way, for trainers and coaches, this is why we made our trainer course the way we made it. We literally put our experience in there. It's not like other certifications. This is our experience. So you could go in there, learn, and then you'll be able to work with people like we just did. on this.
I'm glad he brought up the fact that he was still seeing positive things as far as like strength in the gym and stuff like that, because we've talked about that's like one of the number one indicators, but it doesn't mean it's the only one, or it doesn't mean that you're necessarily,
it's not foolproof.
Yeah, especially with a guy who's really just introduced strength training.
That's right.
So of course he's seeing positive. I mean, he could, and that's why too, he's not even following
the novelty.
He's not even following our programs. So you could almost do anything weight training wise, and you're going to see positive change because it's this new it's novel, and his body's going to have those newbie gains. And even though he's not taking care of his sleep, even though he's got all this stress going on, but what's great is that if he takes the advice, he should be able to do less.
His strength rate
and
will go faster.
He'll see even better results in the gym, and the sleep will improve, and he'll be doing less inside the gym.
Our next caller is Michael from New York.
What's up, Michael?
How you doing, man?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. How can we help you?
Well, I got some questions about powerlift and grip strength, so I figured I'll give you guys just a quick bit of background because I promised my wife I wouldn't fangirl too hard. Well, you guys are amazing. I know you hear it all the time. The impact you're having on the fitness community is profound. I was always doing push-ups kind of on and off, quit smoking cigarettes almost 4 years ago and got really into weightlifting. And then 6 months in, I found you guys. Been a tremendous help to me. So I guess I'll just get right into it. So MAPS Powerlift Phase 1, the last week of Phase 1 where you add weight until you hit 8 reps. When I do that, the estimated 1 rep max is usually significantly, my 1 rep max is usually significantly higher than what I did with 8 reps. So should I stick to the estimate, or should I use what I got 8 reps for, or my last tested 1 rep max?
Use yours. Use yours. The formula, this is one of our challenges.
The problem with RPE,
and why we don't do RPE in any other program, right? We knew we had to do it for a powerlifting program because people would be following this to get ready for a meet, and they would need something specific like this. But this is part of the reason why we always coach to you guys, or we talk on the show about learning to feel this stuff out, because there is no perfect mathematical formula to give to somebody to like follow this protocol. It's a good base and a generic start for somebody who's absolutely clueless on what weight they should put on the bar. But somebody who's got experience like you even knows that, like, oh, I can feel that I've got this much more in the tank, even though it's telling me I only need to do this. I would tell you to go off your feel.
So I'm gonna push back just a little bit here, because I'm like you are. So whenever I do an estimate based off of, my 1 rep max is always higher than what I'm supposed to be able to do based off of what I do for X amount of reps. And I think I don't know if it's because fast twitch muscle fibers, whatever the case may be. Now, I found with myself and with other people I've worked with, and I've and some friends that are powerlifters, that when you follow the programming, even though your 1 rep max is different than what it may be calculating, it tends to be better to go towards that side than it is to go towards pushing the intensity at a higher level. In other words, it's probably better to underdo it a little bit. And as long as you're seeing yourself getting stronger and stronger and stronger, it might be better to go that way, because what tends to happen when you go off of what your actual 1 rep max is each time is the intensity gets pushed a little too hard, in my experience with a lot of people, especially with people who are newer to powerlifting or this style of training, especially if you've done any bodybuilding training in the past, where intensity is a little bit, it's gauged differently than it is for powerlifting. Powerlifters rarely train for intensity. It's really based off of numbers. And if they go in and then today it says, I'm supposed to do 5 reps with this weight, and they're like, wow, that was easy. Coach is like, I don't care. We're not adding weight to the bar. Do 5 reps with that weight is typically what they'll do. Same thing with Olympic coaches. Until they start to really fine tune things, it's typically what they stick to.
I think it's reps, just like anything else. Like, I mean, is this like a very recent venture for you in terms of powerlifting? Is this the first time you've really tried to kind of hone in on that?
So this is my second time running the program. Okay. I did take a break. I at the end of the first time I did powerlift, I switched right into Phase 2 and Phase 3 of aesthetic, but with unilateral movements instead of barbell. And I just restarted. So now I think I'm week 3 of Phase 2 of powerlift right now.
How are the strength gains?
So far it's been great. Last time I ran powerlift, I hit PRs on all of my lifts. This time I'm on track to. I think I kind of have been overdoing it with the intensity, or I've just like my stress management is maybe off, because like my joints are really talking to me.
So
I've
follow the calculations.
Yeah.
Don't go off of your actual what you think your 1 rep max is, and consider this too, Michael. The stronger you get, your volume is going up. The load on the body is going up. So you may be doing the same sets, same program, but maybe last time when you did powerlift, your squat sets were 135, 185, 225 or whatever, and now you're 225, 245, 265, and you're like, well, I'm doing the same amount of sets, but your weight has gone up, so the volume has gone up. And what you'll find is the stronger you get, the more important it is to reduce intensity than when you're weaker, because it's increased the volume. And so what you're feeling right now is probably a result of that. It's like you're lifting more weight than you did before. You're probably more confident, maybe pushing yourself a little harder. I would back off and follow the programming and let it do its work.
I mean, in a perfect world, like if this was me like trying to figure this out for myself, in a perfect world, I'm going to run this 2 different times and in 2 different ways, right? I'm going to run it one time where I'm going to be like so true to the RPE and what it says, and even if I feel like I'm sticking to it, right? And I'm going to leave the gym going like, I know I could have done more, but that's okay. This time around, I'm following it to T. Then I'm going to do another one where I'm like, hey, when I feel like I got more in me, I'm going to add more. I'm going to do off how I feel, and then compare the results and decide like what, because probably the truth, it's probably somewhere in the middle of those two. I think to Sal's point and why he kind of countered what I said, it's like you're probably almost always, and this tends to be the truth with when we're training anybody, better, especially a power lifter or somebody who's been training for a long time, leaning towards the less is more. I mean, we tend to fool ourselves to that, oh, I can handle, I can tolerate, I can handle more, but is that necessarily optimal for me to get stronger and keep heading
Especially
in that
if
direction?
if you're feeling your joints,
Right.
that's usually a sign that you're going a little too much.
Okay, so then I'll just cut back on the weight a little bit. That's what I did I went in today. I cut the weight down to my last tested 1 rep max, and I felt a lot better.
Good.
So I'm just going to keep doing that until my joints feel better. And I've been doing the mobility stuff on my off days or afterwards.
Awesome.
Good.
So my next question is also related to powerlift. When peaking in the last phase, is there a percentage range of increase over my 1 rep max I should aim for? Like a 2 to 5% over my 1 rep max is like, that's going to be the target that I hit after, when I go for a meet or when, after the last week.
Oh, that's a good question.
There's such an individual.
That's a really good question. So have you done a meet before?
No, I don't plan to. I just I have certain numbers in mind before I potentially do anything else.
So I've only been to one, and they give you multiple, you get to go do the lifts multiple times. So you'll come out and do 3 deadlifts or 3 whatever. I would go with what you can do first. What you don't want to do is bomb. So I'd go and then go from there. Ooh, that felt good. Let's go another 15 pounds or whatever, and then base it off of that. That's going to take some experience to kind of figure out what that's going to look like.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then finally, I just got one of those grip strength testers because I've heard you guys talk about it. I know you had, I forgot his name, is some trainer, probably
DeFranco.
Joe DeFranco.
Yeah, you guys talked about it with him, but I don't remember many specific, specifically about percentages and how they relate to training. I just know that if it's lower than average, then you go a little easier. But I was wondering if you could give me any sort of closer to a specific metric. I know it's going to be individual, but like if it's down 25%, should I just get the gym in total, or just do like walking and maybe trigger sessions, or is it 60 to 70% below when I'm 60 to 70% of my 1 rep max is what I should train at that day?
I would only get specific, like really, really detailed, if I've been training someone for a long time and able to identify their own patterns. Basically, you're not going to go wrong. It's with your non-dominant hand. You squeeze it as hard as you can, and you get yourself an average. And if it's a little below that, yeah, you're probably okay. If it's a little above it, you're probably okay. If it's like, wow, that's a lot lower than I
low
average.
and you feel low, like it's confirming how you already felt going into that day. That's kind of how I would gauge it, is more of like, this is like a metric now kind of producing what I thought, or sometimes it surprises me. Like I still have a pretty good grip strength reading. And so, I'll still play with somewhere in between that though, based off of I like to lean on how I feel more.
And I know people hate to hear this, but so much of your workouts and how successful you are is going to be based off of feel. So, you're doing this grip strength test and you're like, well, I'm averaging, on average, I do 130 pounds with each squeeze. And today was 125, and I feel okay, probably fine. Or I was 100. Okay, that's 30-pound difference. I probably should take it easy. And then based off of how that works for you over time, you'll get a better idea of how to be more accurate with what you're reading.
Yeah, well, this requires a long period of time of data. So you got to be doing that before every workout. So you have any kind of point to go back and kind of look at trends.
Michael, what do you do for a living?
I know you're very numbers.
I'm a
guy.
mechanic.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm just curious. Very detailed type questions, came off very engineer, like that type of guy that would like organize his books by color.
Well, he also just got certified. Are you going to try and train people?
So if it was a lateral move for me financially, then yes, I'd be a trainer. My wife organized the books.
She's the OCD one.
My dad's also an engineer, so that's maybe where I get it.
You sound like one of my engineer clients. That's how like my engineers ask questions just like this.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a lateral financial move to be a trainer for a mechanic, unfortunately. But you can supplement. You could supplement in the moment with like online coaching or something like that, and then take it from there.
I help my friends and family out for free, and I'm like the guy to go to, like in my circle, when like anyone has a question about vitamins or exercise routine, and I always point them in your direction. And anything I share from you guys, I kind of distill that for them.
Awesome.
So that's really what I've been doing.
I mean, you'll have to go through the course. Definitely go through the course if you decide to make.
Did you do our 3-day training, the free training that we did?
The webinar?
Yeah.
I know it was probably a long time ago. I did all your webinars, the Prime Pro, the MAPS Prime and Prime Pro webinars.
No. This one was for trainers.
Yeah.
This is where I teach you. Adam and I are up there teaching trainers how to build a better business, how to present. It's really, really cool if you're interested in that kind of stuff.
Big package.
I mean, if you're interested in that space at all, it's free. So it's worth
mindpumptrainercourse.com, and it's a 3-day free webinar for trainers.
I've just been trying to help people as much as I can. And like I said, if it was a lateral move, I would definitely be in the health and wellness industry. I kind of found it out after I'm already a career mechanic, but that's okay. I still really enjoy it, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, good for you, man. Sweet. Well, thanks for calling in, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
You got it, man.
All right.
Yeah, true. If he's a career mechanic, it'd be a step down in pay for a little while.
Yeah, at least
until he can figure out how to make more.
But I mean, we're at a time now where you could do kind of both.
Exactly.
Kind of cool. So.
Exactly. Yeah. When it comes to to give an example of what I'm talking about.
It's so hard to answer those questions, by the way, which is why I think there's very few times you hear us disagree or like.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget. There was this Soviet style of training. I'll never forget. If you guys ever tried it or anybody watching try it, it's really crazy. They would take an athlete, and I'll use a number.
Is this a 2.5 pound thing?
No. They could
every day.
Let's say somebody could squat 315 for 15 reps, and they would go, "You're going to squat 315 3 days a week for 10 reps, and you're going to do it for 45 days, regardless of how easy it gets."
Yeah.
Just 3 days a week, you're going to go in, you're going to do 10 reps, even though you could do 15. Then at the end of the 45 days. You see what you can lift, and you often add like 30, 40 pounds to your lift. And by the end of that 45 days, it's just easy. So you're like, well, how can I be getting stronger? It's just feeling like a piece of cake. Well, this is how the body gets stronger. So when it comes to like powerlifting training, if you ever watch
proficient in that lift now, you've really like honed in on teaching your body like the right mechanics.
You rarely ever see an Olympic lifter, like a real Olympic lifter or power lifter, training with this, that crazy like bodybuilder type intensity. Sometimes it looks like they're just kind of practicing the movements. That's what gets you strong.
Our next caller is Randy from Arizona.
What's up, Randy?
How you doing?
How can we help you?
Hello. Hi. I'm a lot more nervous than I thought I was going to be. But I'm just going to start out. I'm just going to kind of read off my phone. I know that everybody starts off by saying thank you, but I really do feel like I do have to say thanks. I have been listening to you guys for several years now, and you guys have just really helped my relationship with food and exercise. I had like a whole cycle throughout my life of just like restricting and binge eating. So you guys really showed me that I can like eat more food and still be okay with that. So I've gone from like 1,700 maintenance calories up to like 2,300 now.
Awesome. Great.
I guess I'll just get back into what I wanted to say for my question. So I am 32 years old and I'm 5'2". I have been working out consistently for 4 years, and then for a few years before that, inconsistently while I was in school. At the beginning of my fitness journey, I started at 177 pounds with a weight circumference of 37 inches. To now, I am 171 pounds with a weight circumference of 31 inches, and my last body scan showed that I am 29% body fat. I've always struggled with belly fat. However, last June I did take Stephen Cabral's food sensitivity test and found out I'm intolerant to dairy and sesame. So since June, I have cut both of those out. I've noticed a significant decrease in like chronic painful bloating. And then also at the same time, I did change from being a pescatarian for 10 years to incorporating meat back in. Since then, I have noticed significant strength and just overall like body composition. However, I do feel like my like midsection really hasn't changed at all. I'm also still experiencing intermittent bloating, sometimes with an increase of 7 inches in circumference. That is both painful and just overall uncomfortable. I also have fatigue, low libido, and then a high stress job. So I'm just trying to figure out like what direction to take, whether this is just like not enough discipline and I just need to trust the process, or maybe there might be something more like hormonal imbalances.
Yeah, Randy. So let me get this straight. So, well, two things. Number one, your maintenance calories went from 17 to 23, but you lost weight on the scale, which is exceptional. That's phenomenal. That's correct?
Yeah, that really was over the span of like a long time. I guess I went from like 1,800 and then to 23 within a couple months. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So what's the difference in your circumference of waist between meals? I'm reading here on this, on your question that it could be a change of 7 inches in diameter in a matter of a meal.
I meant circumference, but I realize that. But
okay.
Yeah. So it's like not all the time, but then it's also just like really just random. It can be like I had just like a couple drinks out with friends, or like I'm eating a meal that I've already been like eating consistently for days.
7 inches is
yeah. There's something going on. It sounds like it could be candida. It could also be a parasite. It could be SIBO, or it could be all three. The only way to know is to do some gut testing. But I'm almost positive is what's happening. That shouldn't happen. You shouldn't get a change in the circumference of your waist, close to 7 inches, which sounds painful. It sounds like you get really bloated. And by the way, this symptom can happen in men as well. But I've seen this in women where I had one client. She would send me pictures, and it was like before she ate, after she ate, and it was like flat and then pregnant. And we ended up doing gut testing, all that stuff, and she had several issues that she had to treat over the course of 6 months, and then it was gone. So I would work with. You already did Dr. Cabral's food intolerance test. I would actually hire one of their people.
Are you in the forum already with them? We have that free forum. Are you in there?
I'm not in there, no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now here's the good news. It's probably something you can treat, and then once you treat it, it's gone. But it's something, because that's not supposed to happen.
And many times it's what's stalling progress in building muscle, burning body fat. I mean, just by simply healing that, everything else tends to fall into place.
I mean, parasite or candida or SIBO can also cause ups and downs in energy crashes. It can cause anxiety, sleep disturbances, changes in libido and mood. If any of these are ringing a bell, they don't have to, by the way. Just the change in the circumference between a meal is telling me that's a big red flag. Yeah, but if you have those other symptoms that I'm talking about, or some of those other ones, then I would go get tested. They'll find what the problem is, and then you'll be able to fix it.
Okay. So more, because like I saw like on like Stephen Cabral, like he has a bunch of testing and stuff for that. But like, do you think, I don't know, should I just go to like one like functional medicine doctor that could maybe be a little more specific?
You can actually hire one of their doctors to do like a you need to do a one-on-one consult instead of you buying a bunch of tests and trying to guess based off the results.
No, they'll be able to direct you in the right direction.
You have enough signals that something's going on that the advice we're giving, Cabral's team will be able to go deeper into this and have better answers than we have. And it'll be worth the investment to hire someone to get to the bottom of this because
Totally.
it'll be life-changing for you.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you
Hey,
got it.
Please circle back too. I'd love to hear back. And then the forum, because we're in there also, is the MP Holistic Health Forum. So it's on Facebook. It's free. That's Cabral's team. In fact, you could just post in there, hey, I'm looking to hire or do a
Yeah, someone
consult
from
with a doctor.
Cabral, exactly.
And then somebody will probably reach out to you right away on there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that would be great. Cause yeah, like I just noticed like in the mornings when I wake up, I'm like, okay, like I could see some progress. And then like literally after breakfast, then all of a sudden just a huge difference.
Yeah.
And kind of discouraging.
Well, no, well, so
sure.
this is good news. This is a very obvious sign that there's something that you could treat. So this
Okay.
doesn't, at this point, is
Something's
not
fixable. For
It's
sure.
not mysterious. You just got to do some testing to find out how to treat it the right way.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You got it.
All right, Andy.
I mean, look, this just use my own personal example. Like, I tried treating my own gut issues so many times, and I'd get better, and I get worse, and better and worse. Finally, I'm like, let's just test it, and I had a parasite. Treated the parasite, and everything's gone. So it's like once you figure out what it is and you treat it, then you're good. But that's a red flag. If you eat meals, and unless it's like a major food intolerance you have, but she already reduced, she cut those out. If you eat a meal or eat meals, and it doesn't matter almost what you eat, or if it's just carbs in general, for example, that's another one, and you get this huge bloat right afterwards and uncomfortable, and it's like you can measure it, that's a red flag.
Dude, if it was a couple inches, it would be a red flag.
Yeah.
7 inches?
Yeah.
Bro, that's dramatic.
Yeah, it is.
That's a huge
Yeah.
difference. So there's definitely something going on.
Our next caller is Zach from Florida.
What's up, Zach?
What's up,
How
Zach?
can we help you?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
What's going on?
Good, man.
Good. I'm starstruck, just like everyone else says. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing it, but so my bad. Got to give a shout out to my brother Ben for introducing me to you guys over 2 years ago now.
Right.
So you guys have given me so much value over the years, and it's just been it's been really great listening to you guys.
Thank you,
So I'll
Zach.
get right in my question. Won't waste too much of you guys' time.
Okay.
So basically, I want to know. I know you guys talk about establishing a why for your training. And so I've been training for a little over a decade, I'd say. I'm 27 now. And I used to compete in bodybuilding. And, that really, the contest prep of that really helped with my, establishing consistency and discipline and all that. And even without contest prep as a motivator, I've always been relatively consistent with it. But over the past probably 2 or 3 years now, I've really had trouble maintaining that consistency and just either program hopping or just kind of going through the motions in terms of exercises and just not really having a clear established plan with it. And in turn, it's it's really ruined my relationship with food and having binge eating tendencies. And so I was wondering, how do you reignite that kind of spark, I guess, if you want to call it that, without being always just aesthetically motivated?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Are there any other interests you have besides aesthetics when it comes to physical fitness?
Yeah, so I find with that, I only know it if I come across it. And so an example of that for me is last year I was introduced to Krav Maga training because my brother and mom got into it. And so I just joined them they had a free class. And so I just said, why not? I didn't really think I'd get into it that much, but I actually really did end up enjoying it. But I didn't end up continuing because I had moved, and so there were obviously logistical problems with that. But even I've been looking to get into that, but I still haven't got back into it. So it's like I know I have these performance-based interests. I just feel as if I haven't discovered them yet. Maybe.
Yeah, I would. I think that's a great, some great insight. Like I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a while, and strength training took a back seat for about 6 years, and it was great. It was really great for me to do that. Now I love lifting weights. It's my favorite thing in the world. So I don't think I'll ever veer away from that. But for someone like you bodybuilded for a while, you've been lifting weights for 10 years. I would say venture outside of the gym. Krav Maga, good example. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, another example, kickboxing, or something else that's active, and then use strength training as a way to support it. That, in my experience, has always been really a recipe for success for people who maintain fitness for their whole lives. Very rarely do you find somebody who maintains fitness their whole life doing the exact same thing. Those are the fanatics, but I know more people who are fit for their whole lives who tend to do that. Like they'll cycle sometimes and they'll swim other times, or they'll do other type of endeavors. And then you can use the strength training to support that.
Zach, what programs of ours have you ran?
Yeah.
So I've started Anabolic Advanced, and then, of course, due to my program hopping tendencies, I fall off of it because I always try to prioritize the aesthetic aspect of it. So, for example, on the days with the more corrective exercise and mobility days, which have been very helpful for me to learn and implement into my training, but still I try to implement both things at the same time, trying to do high volume work and adding more onto what you guys already have in there.
Yeah, no.
In addition to all this other stuff. And it's, and I know I need to stop doing that. It's just hard to convince myself to do so.
Zach, how many times did you compete in bodybuilding?
I did about 3 or 4 competitions it's been 5 years since I've done it, but.
Do you remember the mental state that you were in for the diet, the pre-contest diet? How long would you diet going into the show?
I do 12 to 16 weeks about.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do with MAPS Anabolic Advanced. I want you to take that mindset. Are you able to get that mindset back if you think back to it? Because pre-contest diet sucks. You're just eating. You're just eating what you're supposed to.
I actually want to switch his programs out.
Yeah,
I think
old time strength.
Yeah, exactly. I think old time strength or you need to do something that's because the reason what's happening
completely different.
Yeah, good idea.
You keep tipping back into your old like I'm aesthetic driven guy, which I could totally relate to this, which is why when I did mobility, what I couldn't do was
both, right?
Do both. I couldn't be MAPS aesthetic and then lots of mobility with it, because then I kept getting excited about aesthetics because that's what I love to do. That's what I'm good at. So I had to become the full mobility guy. I had to give up like caring about how strong I was, what I looked like. I quit. It became everything was centered around mobility stuff. And that was the way that I committed to that. That's how I got all the great results from it. It was incredible. So I think you need to do the same thing. I think MAPS Anabolic Advanced is too much aesthetic driven.
It's
still.
bodybuilder style.
Yeah, it's still bodybuilder-esque. You need to go the opposite direction. Old-timey, performance, OCR, strong. Some of these other ones that are not aesthetic focused at all.
Great idea.
And I love old timey because and that was exactly where I was thinking, Justin, was because there's lots of unique exercises and moves in there
that you're going to suck at, and you have to get good at them.
And let that discipline side of you, where you really get into something, like get into those moves, like get into performing and getting good at a windmill. Like get into that and allow that to be the thing that you focus on, your drive, your why, and then and stick to it for the entire program.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the byproduct is that like you're going to build strength in different parts of your body you didn't have, which then is going to reflect that. So when you go back to aesthetic training, it's going to build out a lot of of your physique you didn't know you had potential there. So it's like you just got to vest all the way into a different mindset. And I think this is the easiest way to do that, is to jump into an entire environment that's not conducive to like the bodybuilder style.
Yeah, and you guys, I know you're absolutely right about that, because I guess thinking back, I just try to stick close to home, so to speak, because so I just want to avoid looking stupid in the gym, because it's this mindset of I've been in there for over a decade. Of course I need to look like I know what I'm doing, but I know you guys are absolutely right.
Yeah, that's what it is. And by doing Anabolic Advanced, you're still flirting too much with the same thing. It's like you said, it'd be like me still doing MAPS split, but it's not aesthetic, so it's not exactly what I did. You know what I'm saying?
No, MAPS Anabolic Advanced is a bodybuilder program.
Yeah, it's too much like bodybuilding. You need to go the total opposite, or adopt like what Sal originally said, like lean into the Krav Maga or lean into jiu-jitsu, lean into a physical sport that you love. And allow that to dictate your training and drive it, or choose one of our programs that you would never choose. Like you would be like, that doesn't appeal to me, but hey, give it a shot and commit to it and make your commitment. I'm going to get good at this. I'm going to get good at these movements. And the irony is that you probably will end up with still the great physique afterwards.
Better.
Totally.
But you're not focused on that. You're focused on the movement and getting good at these exercises you're not familiar with.
And nobody does those lifts, so I wouldn't even worry about sucking at it.
Yeah.
Anybody watching you do that, they're gonna be like, "What?" And then they'll try it, and they'll suck even worse than you. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, we'll send that to you. That's good advice.
Oh, great! Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Awesome. Yeah. That was my question.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Stick to it, Zach.
Cool.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Don't quit on me. Stick all the way through it. Okay.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
All right, man.
Appreciate it, man. Great advice. 100%, right? 100%. That would be because he's still in the gym. you're doing some different lifts. It definitely could spark that interest, that fun that you got the first time you started working out. I mean, 10 years he does, he's bench pressed, curled overhead press so many times.
I mean, that's what originally led me in that direction with the unconventional stuff. It was just like, I got bored, and I was like doing the same thing all the time. And I just wanted to challenge myself in any way.
I actually think this is such an important question. I mean, you got to remember, we all really like lifting weights too. Imagine a person who doesn't really like it and has been disciplined enough to stick to a way of training long enough to get good aesthetic results or get a good healthy body fat percentage or whatever it be. It's really tough to extend that to 5 years, 10 years, 15 years without interrupting it with other pursuits in fitness. And, it took me a while to figure that out. Then that's become a hack. Like, I know that, like, man, if I'm not motivated to go to the gym and follow, like, man, I'm going to do something totally different, And it also is okay because when you're sucking at it, you're not like judging yourself like, oh man, I was benching whatever. Like it's like
there's no previous record.
Yeah, there's no previous record of you doing this movement or training this way. So everything's kind of a positive upswing for you, which is super motivating.
Totally. Look, do you want to get big arms? We have a Get Big Arm guide. It's free at mindpumpfree.com. You can also find all of us on Instagram. Justin is at mindpumpjustin. I'm at mindpumpdestefano. And Adam is at mindpumpadim.
He's back.